across to East London, went into Bethnal Green, walked in the door, you just see man scrapping, innit? Everyone's scrapping, dude, all the different sizes and shapes. And then like the first session, he put us in the ring and got one of the fighters to spar with us. Like me and my friend who were like, we were like 15, 16 or something at the time, like skinny little kids, yeah. And the guy just played with us, toyed us, and I was like, this is real, isn't it? You know, like, it does devalue the sport, yeah, it does, because like, you say, oh, I'm a world champion in Thai boxing, and they go, oh yeah, I know 5 other world champions in Thai boxing. Like, and there's all of that.
What's happening, Greg?
What's going on?
How are you?
Yeah, good.
Thanks for coming.
Nah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, let's kick it off from the beginning, innit?
Yeah, tell us.
First session.
First Thai boxing session.
You remember?
Yeah. My friend in high school brought me to. Grew up in Acton in West London. He brought me to the gym. In the community centre in a box by Damien Faulkner. And Damon, I remember walking in. It was like wooden floorboards. By the time I walked out, I barely had any skin left on my feet. Yeah, one of them ones. It was nice. It was cool. It was kind of a smaller community centre kind of vibe. Yeah. And no one was that good. But then he sent me to like KO, and then like a few months later, 2 or 3 months later, so I trekked it across to East London, went into Bethnal Green, walked in the door, you just see man scrapping, and everyone's scrapping, dude, all the different sizes and shapes. And then like the first session, he put us in the ring and got one of the fighters to spar with us. Like me and my friend who were like 15, 16 or something at the time, like skinny little kids, yeah. And the guy just played with us, toyed us, and I was like, this is real, isn't it? You know, like doing Taekwondo for like a month or 2 where you punch the air 1,000 times and patterns and stuff, whereas this one is just so practical, kind of like, and the smell and the noise, everything just slaps you in the face, isn't it?
Yeah, that Thai oil.
Yeah, that Thai oil. The short shorts were quite jokes as well. Never seen men wear shorts that short, innit?
Did you know you was going to continue to pursue it from the first walk-in?
No.
What made you continue them?
Something to learn, like wanting to get better.
Yeah.
Enjoying it, yeah. Like not knowing how to do it, but like wanting to. Yeah. You're like, I want to look like them guys smashing the pads.
Who was the fighter that he put you in the ring to spar with?
This guy called Jared Gregor, who's an Australian fighter. He was living in London at the time for a year. And I got to see him fight like a few weeks later on the show. He was wicked. I think he won like an Australian WBC title or something like that. But I ended up training with him a few years later in Thailand, so.
Oh, sick.
Good fighter though.
When did you have your first fight?
I had a first inter club a few months in. Yeah. Kind of just went straight into it. I didn't really like plan it, and then, but you know how like old Coach Bill was, and it just kind of like throws you in there.
Tell me about Bill.
I don't know Bill.
Don't you know Bill?
No,
I know
what's Bill saying?
Yeah. Bill Judd, he's like, I don't really know the history around like where he learned all his knowledge, but he's like one of the old school characters in that. He
this is KO, right?
This is KO Bethnal Green, yeah. So he founded the KO gym clubs, and he I think he started off in judo when he was young, and he was like, when he was like 15, 16, he was living in Japan practicing judo or something. And then he went into karate, and then he was boxing, and I think he grew up around that sort of same sort of area as Nigel Benn, and used to box a bit with Nigel Benn and stuff. Again, these are all like what he's told me, so I don't know. It's like, don't know anything really. Like. But I used to box Nigel Benn, and then like used to kickbox, and then he fought some Thais who do Thai boxing, and he said they smashed him up. Like they whooped him with Thai boxing. He was like, what is this? Like he thought he was pretty good at kickboxing, and he was fighting for world titles and stuff when he was 17, 18. And then fought some Thais, got like a devastating defeat, and then he wanted to learn it from them. So then he dedicated his martial arts life to learning Thai boxing. Don't really know from who or from what stuff, but.
Yeah. And how long was you there for? Okay.
From when I started to when I stopped fighting, so I was there from like 15, 16 till 25.
And during that time, you got some world records. You're being very humble, bro.
Yeah, did all right, yeah, did all right. Kept on turning up to training, innit? Just turn up regularly, like, and then have the right mindset, and opportunities came. Yeah, worked very hard to get them, but.
You've not just trained at KO, right? Though you've been around the world.
Yeah, I've been a few places, not that many actually, because the culture there was quite insular. So like, they didn't really encourage you to train at a lot of other gyms. You see, like MMA culture now, everyone trains at different places. They've got their own S&C coach, their boxing coach there, whatever. It wasn't so much like it was all under one roof, which is good and bad. But I lived in Thailand for a little bit, trained at a gym called Kiat Pontip. Out there with Rob Cox, who owns the gym, and John Pop, but he wasn't there at the time. So I trained there for about 7 months when I was like 19, on my gap year before uni. And then trained at a gym with a few friends. Made friends when I was in Thailand with the NASA gym guys. So NASA's a very strong gym in Lyon, in France. And it was like quite a privilege to be asked to go there because they don't really let many people from outside come in. It's not really that kind of a setup. But I met Hussein and Karim Banui, and they were some of the fighters from there. But also there's Fabio Pinker, Johan Lidon, Chris Basuki. Like, they've got loads of top fighters.
Savages.
Yeah, high level gym, man. And so I trained there for a little bit for one training camp. And then other places, not really too much other places while I was fighting, to be honest.
Do you think that's missing? So do you think that now that we, coaches should encourage fighters to go here and go there just to pick up,
bits and bobs?
Yeah, bits and bobs and learn.
Yeah.
There's definitely benefits to it. Yeah, there's definitely benefits to it. Like, if you're getting a fighter training at with a strength and conditioning coach, they're going to become stronger, more powerful, etc. If they're doing a bit of boxing, they're going to pick up there and that. But if you spread yourself too thinly, especially if you're not an MMA fighter, if you spread yourself too thinly, you're not getting that same level of depth from one person and that style and stuff. So I think there's that. So like, and it also comes down to the coach, isn't it? I think it's like, depending on that coach's style, what's most effective for them. So like, yeah, it's good that people can do that and they can get so much knowledge from elsewhere. And sparring, I do wish I had sparred a lot more at other gyms. So yeah, I did used to spar at Double K with Kieran Kedal and like guys like Charlie Peters. There was a lot of fighters there at the time. Charlie Peters, the Whelan brothers, a load of MMA fighters used to turn up for that. So that was good. Yeah.
They play a lot more, don't they, in Thailand? I love the when they're sparring, they're going back and forth. It's just like they're dancing in it. It's mad. There's a difference, isn't there, I guess? I'd love to go and do it. I'd love to go over there.
It takes a while to get used to, yeah, especially if you're used to, I think it's like, from my experience, like when people learn Thai boxing in Thailand, they find it hard adjusting to fighting.
Why is that?
Because the pace is different and straight away you start...
1 for 1?
Well, because you start straight away fighting 5 3-minute rounds, 15 minutes, and you start with all your weapons. So
the first fight you do in Thailand.
There's no like C class or nothing. No. So
I'm just going there training me. I ain't fighting.
So because of that, you start off and you're fighting at the full rounds. So, and with elbows, like, so it changes the style. So there's some things you can't get away with as much. Like clinching, you have to clinch very differently because otherwise you can get elbowed at any point. And then same with like throwing body shots, for example, you can get away with punching to the body, but it's more difficult when people can counter with elbows. So there's that element of it which changes it. But also the pace, because you fight in maybe 3 2-minute rounds as a C-class fight here, that's not a lot of time. So straight away people are trying to make impression, they're pushing it, they're like working hard for that 3 minute. So that's 6 minutes as opposed to 15. So like obviously the pace is going to be different.
Big difference,
Yeah, but it was kind of hard when I came back from Thailand. It was a little bit difficult adjusting back to the pace again. And also the structures of the way it's fought over there is much around the gambling. It's very much influenced by gambling. So the first 2 rounds are not always, but typically quite slow. They're like feel-out rounds where people place their bets. Third round, people start betting a bit harder and the fighters start going for it. And then the 4th round is the money round, where whoever wins that round generally wins the fight. It's kind of weird.
Mad.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Did you have a few fights out there then?
Yeah, I had. I initially went out for the Amateur World Championships, which is the IFMA World Championships. That was wicked experience actually. I had quite a bit of experience in them. I went to like a couple Europeans, went to one as a junior, a couple Europeans and one as the World Championships. And that was good because you got to see all these different teams from around the world. The former Eastern Bloc teams like Ukraine, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Russia, all of those teams were very impressive as well, man. Like just being around them and the way that their demeanor and their like their poker faces, and they were good, man. High level fighters out there, and I just don't think they don't make it to the world stage that often. When they do, they're good, but they were smashing it, man. They were very dominant in the, but also the way that their structure in their country is set up is that it's almost like if you represent your country, you get paid, but you have to represent your country as well if you're an active fighter. So they had like current world champions in the professional ranks would still come to these amateur tournaments because they had to represent the country, and also they used it for like sparring.
Do you think we should be doing that more in the UK?
I think having an amateur circuit, having a more established and unified amateur circuit would be much better, yeah, because I learned, I didn't do that many, I had 7 amateur fights or something like that. But being around it and being in a tournament where you're there all week and being...
a week, okay.
Yeah, that was it was beneficial. And I think if there was a great amateur circuit, it's kind of like that interclub level.
Yeah.
But if it was more sort of like meets in the South or national championships each year and stuff, people would get a lot more experience. And I think that would benefit, people when they start turning pro. They'd have a lot more experience getting there, and they'd have a lot more ring experience. And it's just about ring time, isn't it? The more experience you gain earlier on in your career, it goes in,
Yeah, so you've had some big fights.
Yeah, try to, mate.
Try to. Let's talk about some of the big fights that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So what's one that you wish that, that didn't happen that you would have liked to happen that you felt you could have?
All of them, innit? I would have fought all of them. I trained, my mentality was I trained as hard as I could for every fight. Like, I lost my first ever fight, actually.
Oh, did you?
On points, yeah. On points. I lost it. I didn't really know how to train, innit?
Yeah.
So I lost on points.
It says a lot about you as well. You go again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You take that L, you hold the L. And then...
Yeah, it was a good learning curve, man. Because then I learned, I was tired in the ring because I'd never ran before. I never ran for a fight. I was doing skipping sprints. I thought but after I lost that one, I decided that if I ever lose again, it's not going to be down to me. So the other person needs to be something special, because I'm going to do everything in my power to put myself in the best position to win, which means getting as fit as you can, getting on weight, eating as well, all of that stuff. Yeah. All the factors you can control, I would control, and then try not to stress about the ones you can't. Yeah. But so every fight I would train my hardest for, which is can be damaging when they don't happen. Because the hardest points in my career were the fights that didn't happen. It wasn't really losing because I had an opportunity. Yeah. It was when it didn't happen and you have this mad disappointment and build up, and psychologically it's kind of no one really helped me address how to deal with that and working through it, because just like an artist creating painting a picture or creating something they're proud works really hard to do, or whatever, a sculpture, and then it being smashed at the last minute before the showing or something, or a film that gets made and never gets played or whatever, something like that. But so I trained a few of them. One time I was supposed to fight Pakorn, the first time I was supposed to fight him on Yokkao, and they only let me know the day before the weigh-in that he didn't get his visa and he wasn't going to be there. And they would have known before that. So that was
That's a killer, that.
Yeah, it was shit, man, because I was cutting weight and everything. I made it all the way down and trained my hardest and blah, blah, blah. But, so there was that. And then also financially it messes you up, because there's not a lot of, you don't really make much money anyway. No. So it would help cover your fees. But at the time I would stop working a bit before the fights So there's that, and then trained to fight, that didn't happen, and then can't remember what order it was now, but then I was training to fight Liam Harrison.
Yeah.
I watched a few of your interviews on that, for the build up for it and stuff.
Yeah.
Interviews on it.
Yeah, that was a big one for me, because when I started the sport, Liam was still not he was number 1, and he was I used to watch his fights and stuff, and he's a big character in the sport. He's got a lot of support and stuff. So I knew I was going to have a lot of. Not haters, but people just saying I was going to lose, going to get knocked out and stuff like that. So psychologically, it was quite a cool fight, because I had to go through a lot of people doubting me and just saying I got no chance in being the underdog. Yeah. But I quite enjoyed that, because it's motivating. So I had that fight that I was training really hard for. I had a bad camp on that one though, man. I had a hamstring injury, so I couldn't run. So I was finding it hard to drop weight. and hard to get conditioned fully. And I had a few other injuries. And then, yeah, it wasn't the greatest camp, but I made it to the scales. But
ready?
Yeah, I was ready. Yeah, it was rough weight cut and stuff. Yeah, I made it to the scales. But then the promoters came just before the weigh-in. They came up and said that Liam hadn't made, what happened to him? No, he was in hospital.
Yeah.
So he had a kidney infection, is what they told me. He dropped me a message and said, like, sorry, the fight didn't happen. He had a kidney infection, which, like, I think when you're cutting weight and stuff, if you do it last minute, you do a lot of weight, water weight. If you do drop weight like that, I think that puts a lot of strain on the kidneys and on the body there.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's what happened or whatever, or maybe he didn't take me serious. I don't know, whatever the reason. But that was long when that not happened.
There's often a lot of controversy about Liam's fights that in the UK he drops, he's been known to drop out of a lot of fights, hasn't he?
I know he dropped out my one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he dropped out, not dropped out, he got ill, whatever the reason was, yeah. He fought Charlie Peters, though.
On the second
Yeah,
time?
he did, yeah.
Oh, yeah, there was a
he
pull-out
meant
as
to
well.
fight him, then he pulled out. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I said, I just try and control what I can control.
Yeah.
So whatever other people doing, it's up to them. And same with my mentality. Like if he made it and got in the ring, like my opinion of when I used to try and create a mindset towards fighting, that if I got into the ring and I was allowed medically fit to be in the ring and my coach let me get in the ring, then I was going to win, because otherwise either my coach shouldn't be letting me in with that person because I'm not good enough, or the doctor shouldn't be letting me in because I'm not in a state to do that. But if there is, then on the day, if you make it into the ring, then you're going to win. That was my mentality that I used to create. So even if I had a shit camp, it was fine, because if I got in there, mentally, I was going to somehow win.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sick. You're quite good with your head, innit? You've got a good mental.
Nah, well, only because it's... actually, well, not really. Only because I did struggle as a child, actually. Like, I used to be quite depressed as a child, not really for any reason. I had blessed upbringing, but it was nice.
Yeah.
Parents did a good job and all that. But and then when I was playing football, I used to play football a lot, and just minor clubs wasn't even that good. But I used to get so anxious about the games, like not sleeping the night before,
Oh, really?
quite jokes. Yeah, it's quite a bit sad, really. Like it was small games or county level, and the school went into a national cup. But I used to get so nervous and anxious about it, and not really know how to control it. And then with fighting, it was almost facing those nerves straight on. Yeah. And then the more fights I had, the most nervous I was ever for a fight was for my first ever interclub. Yeah, because you don't know what's, I didn't know what was coming.
What the fuck am I doing?
Yeah, you just got no idea. And also you got no idea how to deal with...
It's the adversity, isn't it? Getting in there, you really get to know yourself. And I've only had a few interclubs, but bloody hell, I couldn't even imagine what it's like walking into a ring with nothing on. You know what I mean? Just these little shorts and then going at it, knowing that you're going to use all these 8 limbs.
Yeah, but it's not like that, though. It's like you're walking into a ring with nothing on because you've prepared for it.
Yeah, of course,
say if you were to drop you in there tomorrow.
Yeah.
But even then, tomorrow, that's tomorrow. You still got time to prepare.
I hear that.
So it's a slow thing there. But
fail to prepare to fail, man.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, the more fights you have, the more you get to know your own mind. Yeah. And that's it depends on what...
So where did you overcome all the depression and that? Did you channel that energy when you went into Muay Thai and faced it?
Yeah, it was a bit of facing it, and then it was learning coping mechanisms. So you pick up some stuff elsewhere. I remember Bill giving us one joke. I don't know what he was on, but he gave us this joke, cool down, and he did some breathing technique. He must have done a bit of Tai Chi or something and showed us some basic stuff with that. So I used that for a while before fights. It was lifting up your energy, spreading it out, gathering it back in from the world, pulling it in. And that, you would do that 5 minutes, but every time you're moving your hands, you're moving with the breath. Yeah. So I used to do that for a bit. And then my auntie used to go to the London Buddhist Centre, which was down the road from the gym. And I used to walk past it all the time. And she was like, I used to go there for £1 at lunchtime to meditate or whatever. So she told me about that. She was like, you should go and try it. And I was interested. So I went. And then I started, that was my mental training. And initially it was trying to get better. It was I thought if I go meditate, I can stay calmer in the ring or whatever, or be more clinical or listen to a structure. Yeah, but then it started off like that as a purpose for fighting. But then, like you say, it kind of seeps into every aspect. Yeah. And then I remember I was also studying at the time. At college I did psychology, and at uni I did sports science, and there was psychology element of that degree. And what I realized, and like from my own reading and stuff, is that we all experience the world, and our perception of the world is through our own minds, through our own thoughts and patterns. So if you have an unhealthy mind, which is something where you can't control your thoughts, or you take something in life happens to you and you spin straight away into negative maladaptive thought processes and patterns and stuff like that, or your perception of the world is one way through your thoughts that you have, it changes every experience you ever have, every meeting, whatever, everything. So, and I, like, my mum was a psychotherapist, or yeah, she was a psychotherapist, like, and she used to work evenings and stuff. So I was, from a young age, I was like, oh, where's mum? She's working, she's counselling, helping people. And so because I kind of, as a young kid, I thought, oh, people, this is something there that you need to look after. Yeah. Then I was like aware and respected it straight away, because like it was my mum's profession, isn't it? So I respected the fact that the mind is a powerful thing and it needs looking after, like health. And then later on in life, when other influences like going to the Buddhist center came in, and I started to learn that you can train it, and it's like a muscle and it's like your body. Yeah. Then you start to respect it more, and then you start applying it into things like fighting or anxiety or whatever is going on in your life. And then it becomes like a bigger part of it, man. Yeah. So yeah, so like you said earlier, like you're good with your mind. It's like, no, not really. Like I just was lucky enough to come into like some practices and people introduced me, and my mum's influence and this and that. And then Bill was good. He talked a lot about, he didn't practice much, but he talked a lot about certain mental things and stuff. So, and then my other coach, David, he did an NLP, which is a
David Paquette,
yeah. So he does master practitioner of NLP, and I went to some seminars, and all these influences that we all get just helped me kind of learn how to work with my mind and train it as well.
Dude, I love that, you know.
Do you still meditate now and still work on your mind now?
Yeah.
What's your routines?
Yeah, morning routine's pretty strong. Like I meditate every day, but my practice isn't that good anymore. So
do you have structure with it? Set times or?
Yeah, mornings. Yeah, always the mornings. At the moment, I use the Headspace app.
Dude, it's sick, innit?
Yeah,
I love the little animations as well.
Yeah. But like training, like now what I'm doing is basically like, when you're on holiday and you're shadowboxing in your hotel room doing push-ups or whatever. It's better than nothing, dude. But at the same time, like that's like my meditation practice.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like, instead of going to the Buddhist center and sitting in the shrine room where the space and the feel and learning from a teacher, where you can ask questions and get feedback, which you would in a class, I'm like sitting at home after like in the morning. Sometimes I have a cold shower so I don't fall asleep. Because usually I fall asleep the nodding, building up that neck strength. But so like having a meditation practice at home in your bedroom or on the app is great, but it's still not the same as actually going to the center or learning from someone directly, which is the same as having a fitness app on your phone where you're doing all the techniques wrong, all the lunges wrong and stuff, and going with a personal trainer. So that's the analogy that kind of, so like my like meditation practice now is not that strong in that. Whereas when I was fighting, I used to go a lot. And also I've been on some, when I stopped fighting, when I was still fighting, I went on a few retreats, and they're next level, man.
Where did you go?
Part of the Buddhist center, they have, they've got one full-time one in Suffolk. So it's not even that far, like a couple hours drive or hour and a half on the train. And it's full-time, it's their one full-time. And then I went for one at Christmas time one year. That was sick, that was a game changer for me as well. Because like, I had this Christmas where like, my brothers just bun it up pretty hard, innit? They just, and normally I would, but I was ill. That was the only time of year whenever I was. So they brought it up, like, my dad and my mom, like my mum, bless her, was just doing all the, like, she was organized, she was the gel, innit? And she was getting things sorted. Whereas the rest of my family were just getting pissed, like drunk, and like talking nonsense or arguing or like getting on each other's nerves. And I was ill just observing it all, because I was like, I don't know what I had. But then after Boxing Day, then I went to this retreat center. And then straight away, like you come into contact with all these strangers who are just on a similar like mindset, and you have these great conversations, and you drink bare herbal tea and biscuits. And you meditate a lot, like morning, breakfast, but like 3 or 4 times a day. So you're spending 4 or 5 hours a day meditating, and it does something crazy to your mind. You're eating vegan food and stuff, and that your mind like opens. You don't realize how closed it is everyday life, but your mind starts to open. And you have these vivid ass dreams, like crazy dreams. But you also don't know what's going to happen. Sometimes I went on that retreat thinking, oh, I'm going to think about my Thai boxing career and how long I'm going to fight for, when I'm going to stop. But like your mind opens and then all this other stuff comes tumbling out and you don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah.
So you have all these like expectations about it. And then I decided I was going to like have one more year of fighting where I try my hardest, like give everything to it and do everything I could possible, like seeing nutritionists and spending as much money as I could. I didn't really have much money at the time, but physios and S&C and all of that. And then I was going to stop because it just wasn't really making me happy in the long term and like a few factors. So I decided then on that retreat that I was going to do it, and I went teetotal for a year, so I didn't touch any alcohol and stuff. And it was like the best year I had, and it showed me a lot about the value of clarity, mental clarity, which comes from, it's quite hard work to get there. It comes from like healthy eating, like sleeping a lot, looking after yourself, and working with your mind, isn't it?
Yeah. And
that level of clarity is not really promoted within our society and culture because it's not marketable. Like,
no,
anyone is capable of doing it, like, but the other thing is you need specific conditions, like having a phone with emails pinging off every left, right, and centre. It's not,
We have no switch off.
No.
We have no switch off, and especially in places like London as well, where it's so fast-paced.
Hard, isn't it?
It's mad. It's mad.
But that's why I recommend retreats. Like, it doesn't have to be like holidays. You know, when people go on holiday, they sit on the beach and things like that, and relax and get drunk or whatever. That's one thing. But if you have a retreat where you can switch off your phone, and like you're around people who are also quite mindful, and they're like you're calm with each other, and you're like respectful from each other. Yeah, and then it puts you it is a sick experience, man. Yeah. So I would definitely recommend it. It's not easy though, because you like if you think about it, like because I've been on some longer ones for like 10 days, and 7 of those days are in silence as well.
So you were silent for 7 days?
Yeah,
dude, that's sick.
But you have like meditation reviews with a teacher and stuff. But when you're doing that, it's not easy because you have to face a lot of stuff that you've either buried or repressed, or just like, fuck, I want to train, or all your basic desires. I want to eat this, I want to whatever. You think about sex a lot. All of these things that you're trying to like, our basic desires as human beings just get rammed in your face when you're in these things, and you can't face them. You can't hide them anymore. You have to face everything, and it is it's a powerful experience, man.
Yeah, dude, I'd love to do it. I've got to do it.
Yeah. You should do, yeah. It's like
there is a difference. Everyone says you have a break and you go on holiday, like you said.
It's a big difference, I think, from holiday.
Actually going and, you know what I mean, having that full space to be able to, you know what I mean, try and get control. Mine wanders like mad. Do you know what I mean? I get bare anxious at work. Do you know what I mean? Constantly with pressures of like coming up with ideas for briefs and I even get anxious with holding pads for people in the gym. Am I doing it right? Do you know what I mean? And then my head's going and all of a sudden I'm all shook with it.
But that's the mind, isn't it? Like that's all trainable, man.
100%.
Workable,
yeah. I'm going to check out that Buddhist centre. I've never been.
Yeah, check it out.
Good people, man.
Yeah. Can I go back to the money aspect of it? Because you said, like, as a fighter, you know, it's hard. You had to give up a lot. You had to make a lot of sacrifices. So in terms of money, as a fighter, like, just talk about those struggles. Like, and what do you think? How do you think the scene, the game, could help support fighters?
I think,
if at all.
Yeah, I think first of all, I'd say like, my career was only possible because I had parents with a house that I could live in rent free. So I wouldn't have been able to I would have been able to have a fighting career, but it would have been nowhere near the same level. Because I think like living in London, I think it's different outside of London. But living in London, the cost of living and the grind is, especially maybe if you're not from this country or you don't have family to fall or a safety net, the grind of living, like if you're working a 40-hour week on a low-paying job, that's taking so much of your daily energy that away from training and away from fighting. Whereas me, I was lucky enough to live at home until I was 23 or 4, and then I moved into a flat with my brother. And then it was like, it wasn't even that bad on rent because I was sharing it with him. But if you're got those London outgoings and you're not from wealth, you're not wealthy, or you don't have, like with fighting, if you're dedicating your life to it to become fighting at a high level, it's hard to have a 9 to 5 as well.
Yeah.
Near impossible.
Yeah, near impossible because you need your energy for training and things like that. So that's why most people are personal training as well. But if you're personal training and you've still got rent, bills to pay, you're putting in a lot of hours. It's before work, after work. So like the situation with you as well, and a lot of the fighters at the gym, you guys are getting 5-6 hours sleep, which is not enough for professional fighters. Like for me, when I moved out to that flat with my brother, I was sleeping 4 or 5 hours a night.
Yeah.
Training like an animal, dieting badly, not eating, like I was eating what I thought was right, which was like no carbs, vegetables and proteins and all this shit. Like, whereas I actually never had a nutritionist saying like you should eat carbs for fueling. So I was making a lot of errors, but the only thing that was getting me through was my drive and my why, my reason for doing it. So it was hard, and like I definitely feel like that contributed to me stopping fighting, because it was hard to just, I was in a gym where it was like a spit and sawdust gym, so you're not making money for a PT. It's like 30 quid or whatever, 40 quid. And you're holding pads for an hour. It's not like you get them doing much weights or anything. So you're just getting your shoulders smashed in for an hour. I was holding for some heavy weight sometimes. I was just thinking, what am I doing, man? And then it's before work, after work, you're training hard. Where are you resting? Like, I lived on the other side of the city, so I had nowhere to go and rest. I used to go to the Buddhist center and then sit on the sofa before the session. I'd sometimes be so tired, I wouldn't go into the session. I'd just stay on that sofa for all the sleep. So like, all of those factors come into the money, and the money you get paid for fighting, it doesn't make it worth it in Thai boxing circles. Not that I've, no, not that I know of. I don't know, it's got better.
You think it has got better?
Yeah, I hear it has. Yeah, I hear it has. And like, depends on how profile you are. So like, yeah, I think it has got better for a few people, and then maybe it's got worse on the lower. Maybe the pyramid's just got steeper. Yeah. But I think it's difficult, man, for fighters to make it. So I think like if you're not from this country, or like if you're not from London and you don't have a family or your parents to live out of, or a career, it's lucky if you're lucky enough to own a business or something already. So, but then by that point, if you set your career up first and then you start fighting, it's probably too late, because you need to start fighting from a younger age. So I think it's easier in like smaller cities, maybe where the cost of living isn't so high, and you can live closer to the gym, and you can live around the corner, and or you can just live a humble life in London. If you just, that's all you want to do, you want to fight. And that's why people get tempted just to go and live in Thailand, because you can live, you can be a labourer 6 months a year and then go there and live well for 6 months. Or if you've got online business or something.
What do you do work-wise then?
Personal training and coaching.
Purely that?
I run some corporate workshops as well. So I've got a company that does that. But yeah, that's all I've done since I came out of uni.
Oh, dude, that's nice.
Yeah, because it was the only thing that allowed me enough time to train. And spend all day in the gym.
That's sick.
At the time. And then I like helping people, and Thai boxing and the knowledge I have and conveying that and communicating, that's my way of helping people at the moment.
I must say that's one great thing about you. You share your knowledge, and you're quite open to share your knowledge with people that's willing to receive it and take it on board.
Yeah, maybe I'm not like but I'm still young, innit? So like all those old Thai boxing coaches or old coaches that have shared their knowledge and invested in loads of people who have then just turned around and maybe like fucked off or opened their own gym or whatever. Maybe that's why they're much more reserved with it. Or maybe they're just different people and different mentality in it. But I can understand, like when you go to Thailand, some of the pad holders, they don't teach you anything. Because you're just another tourist, you're just another thing, and they're tired, they're holding pads or whatever. So, whereas if you go to a good gym or you have a good connection with someone and then they'll invest in you and coach you, it's more work for them. But, well, it should be what they enjoy doing. But a lot of people do things and they don't enjoy it. Whereas I'm lucky enough to find something I enjoy, and I enjoy helping people. So it's.
Do you still love it? Like, do you still love Thai boxing? Do you still love what it's about?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Like I don't like when I have busy periods and I'm PTing a hell of a lot and I'm trying to make money and stuff. I don't love it that much, because anything you do to that extreme, it's my living. But then like, I do like I'll train with friends, or I'll go to a fight, and you just need reminders sometimes. Yeah. Go to a fight like Marcus's fight the other month, isn't it? Like, still banging that entrance track. Still playing that entrance track. Yeah, like those things like that. Or even the UCL, like I used to coach at UCL, University Club, for 10 years, and then I went and refereed their last competition. Nadine's now coaching them now, and Phil, but I went and refereed their last competition. They all And they're like intelligent young people who are going to be doing big things because they're at a great university and stuff. And future doctors and lawyers and barristers and politicians or whatever.
That's awesome.
And then they came up and said, "Oh, thanks very much. Like you've had this impact on my life." And they're like, "Oh yeah, this is why I do love it. Like because I get to impact people's lives in that way."
Yeah.
But you do need reminders because it's easy to forget.
Yeah.
Like why you do what you do or.
So what's your weekly structure for that? Have you got a lot of freedom around it now? Do you give yourself time off and you got a nice
My
balance?
weekly structure.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that
So
the
like,
question? Oh yeah.
yeah. Like, what's the structure of your week like?
Yeah. So.
With like the freedom that you've got now to kind of train here, train there, and we say the mental kind of stuff.
Well, like I'm still working in the fitness industry, and this is not the healthiest industry to be in. Ironically, like.
What do you mean?
Well, if you're a PT, most prime slots are either before work or after work. And you either rent spaces in gyms, or the deal I have at the current job, the gym I was working recently, was you coach a certain amount of sessions for free and then you PT. But PT essentially is the bookends of the day, so it's like the morning and the evenings, before work and after work. So if you're getting up at 5:30 or 6, whatever, and you're going to bed past that, like late, you're just not getting enough sleep. So if I have busy periods where I'm PTing a lot, and I'm, again, we'll talk about this later, we was talking about earlier with Kaz, was like, I was never studied business, so I didn't even know I was starting a business when I started PTing, but that is a business. For me, it was just a way to make money to carry on fighting. So I never formally like looked at it that way until fairly recently. And then my working habits like are not very good, and they're not very efficient in many ways, in the sense that like I have a deep ingrained. I'm trying to unpick it at the moment, but like my dad was like a workaholic, like worked all hours. My mum had 2 jobs. She was a social worker and a psychotherapist in it. So in order for me as a kid, I growing up like with the parents not really around and that, I was like, oh, this is how you do it. You just work hard. And then with Thai boxing, working hard brings you success as well. And then with PT, and you think, working hard, taking as much hours as you can, you're busy. Being busy isn't the same as being successful. So like you can make yourself busy, but you're doing 30, 40 pounds an hour, whatever it is. And then you get busy at one gym and you like reach your ceiling on earnings. So you go to another gym, you reach your ceiling, you go to another gym and up your prices each time. But you're still trading your time for money, which is going to be limited. And also like if you're holding pads, it's physically demanding. So like my weekly sort of routine now is I'm coaching like Monday. I still work weekends. I still work on Saturday, a half day on Saturday. I have a nice mix now where I have some clients who pay me quite well. I still train some fighters, and I'm involved in the coaching team at Bloodline Gym. And then I have some classes, some boxing classes and Thai boxing classes. And I used to be at the university as well. And now, or more lately, I've been doing a lot more corporate workshops, which I've mixed feelings about, because like I enjoy it. Again, I'm helping people, but these people, man, they're making paper. They're fine, man. They're all right. Like,
but are they?
No, they're not fine in the sense that like, they're dedicating their lives to making paper. Like, really, like who wakes up and wants to like be a fucking banker?
That's true.
As a kid,
people
like,
do, yeah,
you do it because it makes great money. But like, how fulfilled are they? And
no interest.
So they all struggle with that. Like, why are they waking up? And they work some mad shifts as well. They're very driven, these people, and they're very smart, a lot of them. And then I just try and give them ways to help cope with their demands of their job and not burn out. Because basically, if they burn out and quit, the company loses all the money they've invested training them, and they go and spend a lot of money finding someone else to come in. So it's cheaper for them to put them on courses that can help them with their mental resilience and stuff like that. But I do those corporate workshops, which feel...
How often are they?
We're doing quite a lot lately, like a couple of months.
Yeah.
Started a new company with my friend.
That's sick.
And they're good. Like, it does feel great to be like. Also, my friend works in Switzerland, so I get flown out to Switzerland and do them at different places around there. And we're part of their Be Well, Work Well, like their healthy working.
That's really big at the moment in corporate.
Yeah. People aren't machines, isn't it?
Nope.
Really. So I do that, but then like it would be ideal, I think, later on at some point to have like a community project, like where the lessons I've learned through Thai boxing, I like implement them or give them or hopefully get them across to people at a vulnerable or a challenging point in their life that will affect it the most, as opposed to these people with good jobs, helping them be a bit happier while they still were making mad paper. So that would be a nice thing later on. But what I struggle with, which is what I think this millennial generation is like people want to make an impact on the world now, whereas I think I need to try and see the longer term game and like do these corporate things and have a corporate company that does workshops that can make charge them a lot of money, and then put it in the bank and get myself into a position where later on down the line, then I can do something with a lot more impact and a lot more. Because I could just dedicate my life and work in community centres now, but then I would struggle to have a house or provide for my children and future children or whatever, or if I have whatever. So it's about maybe like it's the battle between like how much do you give, how much do you help others now, which you should be doing, which I feel like I should be doing anyway, and then how much do I invest in to try and build and get myself into a position where I can have a wider reach with that or something. So, and also like trying to learn more the whole way as well. So I know a lot of Thai boxing stuff, but it'd be great to help people in other ways.
In other ways, yeah.
So Greg, you touched a bit earlier about your relationship with your first coach. I think a lot of people would like to kind of know, why did you leave your first gym?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, so like Bill was my first coach, and he was like the biggest. Like, give credit to him, he had the biggest impact on my career as a fighter, me as a person, character building in that sense. Like he was like a father figure to me for a long time, and also my coaching style. Like if people say I'm a good coach, like then I have to give credit to him because he was a great coach for a long time in many ways. And then I had this weird relationship though, in that like I never knew that much about him. So he was never very open. No, he's very closed, and like so he's one of. I never knew if he had kids, family, wife, nothing like, and it wasn't an area you could breach with him, innit? And there was that like teacher-student respect, like from karate or something. I know other coaches are cool with their fighters and stuff, but no, it wasn't like that. And then I think like, I was probably like my dad, like bless him, he was my dad and he was around, but he wasn't very active as a parent, like so he never really taught me anything that much. Like he put a roof over my head and food on did the weekly shop, but other than that. So I think I was looking for something like that, and Bill was one of them. He saw someone who was, to be fair to him, he didn't remember my name he didn't know my name for like 6 months, and then called me Grant. He called me Grant in 6 months. So I think.
Did you answer to Grant?
That's Greg.
I was all kinds of names for ages, like Greg Wootton and whatever. But so he like took me on, like recognized some potential with this kid that kept on coming back, and then started investing in me with training wise. I learned a lot of lessons with that. But then leaving the gym, like after the fighting and stuff, he had some kind of cancer, which again, I don't even know that much about because again, it was never that spoken about. So he'd kind of hint here and there and stuff, but he was fighting a battle with cancer and stopped training me for like a few years before I stopped fighting actually. I used to hide it. Like people say, "Oh, how's Bill?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, how's training? Yeah, great." Like I used to pretend for some reason, like I don't know why. Should have just said, "Yeah, I've got no coach." Like training myself, and then later on, my friends started training me. Like, we did a good job, man. But I think I won some fights, and I won some of the biggest fights with my friends in my corner, like Abdul, Leon, and Richmond, and the other friends at the time who were all supporting me. And I think that upset Bill a little bit because he wasn't there, and maybe I didn't give him enough credit at the time. So I think that straight away like put a massive distance between it, and then carried on. And then I like had this failed medical with the brain damage thing we could talk about. But then after that, because I'd had this success without him, I maybe didn't praise him enough, he came back, and then there was just a distance, and then he stopped chatting to me, and then I think he just wanted to like. It kind of comes in cycles, in that all the champions he's made, everyone's gone and left, and no one really has a good relationship. So I think that probably says enough, really. Like if everyone leaves whereas some gyms have great relationships from day one, like Paul Morat and Arnold Oborotov, like Richard Smith and Liam Harrison and Paulo De Silva and John Jarvis, and there's a lot of coaches that have great relationships and they maintain that for years. But it hasn't been that way with Bill with a lot of his fighters. So the same thing happened with me and my friend Richmond, in that Richmond was running the gym and I was helping. And then we weren't getting paid for classes anymore, and then we had to give basically forced us out half our rent to the thing. I don't really know why. I think the nicest way that I would like to look at it is that he saw that we reached our potential under his roof and there was nothing more he could teach us, so he let us go.
He let you go, okay.
But he couldn't say that, so...
Yeah.
That's a nice way of putting
It's
it.
a very nice way of putting it. It's nice to be nice, bro. You know.
Took a while to work around to that. Yeah.
Oh, was you quite resentful for a while?
Was I resentful? No, I just didn't understand. Like, and I never understood my whole career. I was like, this is simple. Like, all I want to do is train hard, learn a lot, fight, make you happy, make me happy, win. What's wrong with that? Like, but it was never that simple. I don't know why. Like, it was never that simple. Complicated guy, innit? But a lot of very, like, I don't know, creative geniuses, or a lot of people, a lot of brilliant minds are very troubled and very conflicted in that. So.
And there's also rumours going around the circuit about some coaches cutting fighters' purses, not giving them their full purse.
Yeah.
Have you experienced that?
Yeah. So with Bill, with his old school way of coaching things, the way he ran it was like he told you what you got paid and he gave you that money, and then like it was my own fault because again I never learned anything about business, so I never even like questioned anything. And then he put it he kept the dynamics in such a state that. Or like teacher
you couldn't
student.
question it, yeah.
No. Yeah. So he keeps in the dark. Like and he had like a lot of very in hindsight some very good strategies and techniques for keeping that dynamic in that way. So I don't know what he was doing with the money. All I knew was that I got paid what he told me I was getting paid, and he was whatever was going on. I didn't know anything about ticket commission and things like that. Didn't know anything about how much the purse actually was. I barely saw any contracts because there wasn't much contracts apart from a few big shows. So when I did see contracts, then it cleared it up, obviously. But so there was probably all of that going on, which like I'm sure there is in a lot of old school boxing type things. But at the time, also I came from a place where I'd never even intended to make money from the sport, and like that's the problem with the sport as well. Is that and also, to be honest, the wider thing in the fitness industry is that so many people want to become PTs because they like training or playing football or lifting weights, that they're happy to do it for free because they think, I'll do it for free now and later on I'll make some money from it. But if we all do that, we just bring down the price of the value of it and it stays low and no one makes much money because there's someone else in your shoe who's willing to
do it for free.
Yeah.
You spoke about brain damage and a failed medical. Tell me more about that. So where was you when that happened? How'd that make you feel? What happened next?
Yeah.
Was that the reason you stopped fighting?
No, it was part of it. It was not the sole reason. It was like accumulation of a few things. Yeah. It was like, I had I decided I was gonna give it one more year and see what that happened. I had a new relationship with my current partner that was becoming hard to maintain or grow because I was being selfish and putting myself first. I wasn't making any money, so it was becoming quite difficult to sustain that lifestyle of putting training first without, like, if you put training first, like the way I did it was training came first before everything, like, which meant I wasn't investing myself in learning how to build businesses or run my own business, like nothing. And then it came before relationship, came before things. So, and that brings a lot of success and puts you into that tunnel vision state. But then it also messed me up a bit, and like I was finding it harder to make the weight. So I was fighting I fought at the same weight the whole career really, which was 63.5 kilos, 140 pounds, so light welterweight.
What do you walk around at?
Like 75.
Do you?
Yeah.
That's mad.
But because I started fighting at 16, so I used to walk around at like 65 at 16.
So your fights never went up as you got older?
No, I should have done. But yeah, there was no one really, and Bill was an old school guy in that he didn't really know about weight cutting. And
that's mad.
Yeah, so I used to cut a lot of weight, and then it became harder and harder, and it just made me unhappy. And basically, just like a lot of fighters, I think, who probably aren't aware of it, but I developed an eating disorder where I'd you go from like extreme like deprivation and purging. Basically, you eat a big meal, you train extra hard, and that's purging. It doesn't mean you throw up or whatever, but that is a form of purging. And then you go from that, you work really hard, you fight, you win, and then you just go out and you eat loads of food, and like it's kind of uncontrollable, like, and it takes it's hard to stop and get back onto a sustainable thing. So that cycle started happening, and made me unhappy. And then I went to fight in America I was supposed to fight SAENCHAI, so I was training to fight SAENCHAI. And I did the same thing, and I trained my hardest ever. And on my 25th birthday, I didn't really celebrate nothing. I just big rounds in the gym, man. Yeah. And then that fight didn't happen because I only bruised the rib, but I couldn't get out of bed for like 2 days. And that was a week before the fight, so there was no way I could actually get to the fight.
That must be so frustrating.
Yeah, that was shit, man. Yeah. And then I got this opportunity to fight Tetsuya Yamamoto, a Japanese fighter, on Lion Fight for a world title in Foxwood Casino in like Connecticut, next to New York.
Wow.
And so I took that and like regrouped and dealt with whatever that loss and blah blah blah, and then trained really hard for that. And then I needed to get medical, so I fought in America twice, and the first time I flew out there, and we had all the medicals done while we were there the week of the fight. And this time I needed to get the medicals done in the UK, so I got them done here, and then I got the results back for the MRI scan. And initially it was cool, and then they said, "Oh, actually, there's something on it. We want to question it." And then
This was here in the UK.
Yeah, and then they said they sent it over to the American doctors as well, who said, "No, there's you failed on that because there was a brain shear, which I guess is like shear force tearing and some microbleeding." And they said that there's possibly risk of death if you were to fight with that. But this all came through on email, so it didn't feel very real because there wasn't anyone sitting there face to face. Yeah. So it came through, and also like Bill wasn't coaching me then. My friends, like they're my friends, but they weren't like overseeing everything, innit? They didn't have that much authority. So it came through email, and I was like, it's probably them being two Americans just trying to avoid being sued. So I was like, it's mine art, it's probably not right. I'll just get a second opinion, it'll be fine. So I flew out there anyway to fight. And then I was trying to make weight in this hotel room and in this dirty casino, trying to find healthy food in the casino, like stealing broccoli from the buffets and that, man. Hard times out there. And then they said, yeah, like, you're not allowed to fight here because you've got this brain injury. So I was like, well, I kind of come to the point where I was like, that was going to be my last fight in my head. I didn't say it to anyone because I was just, everything was unsustainable. Yeah. Like not making money, making a relationship, being happy, it was unsustainable. I wasn't enjoying it anymore. And they were all controllable factors, but I just didn't see that at the time. So that's why I decided to stop. Like, I had some coconut water and some cheers with my friend Richmond in a hotel room. Yeah.
So is it all okay now?
Yeah, it's all good, man.
Did you have to have an operation and stuff?
No, so all I did is had to stop sparring for a year, and then I got a re-scan, and then the results on the NHS. So I sat down with the doctor, and he just looked at it and said, "Yeah, you're fine." And I was like, "All right, cool. So what does that mean in terms of long-term health?" He just didn't have time for any of it.
Really? Oh.
And then like, luckily, a friend of mine used to train. He paid for me to go see this like specialist neurologist. Yeah. He was done a lot of boxing stuff, and sat down with him, and he said, "Yeah, you're fine, you're cool," but he also then explained to me about cumulative effect of concussions and things like that, which I knew none of it. No one had ever spoken to me about brain injury before. No one had spoken to me about concussions, treatment, symptoms, nothing, which I think is a bad flaw in our sport. Yeah. I think every cornerman should know straight up that you're responsible for your fighter's brain. Like, sometimes I watch fights now, and they're shocking, man. Their fighter get knocked down like 5 times throughout the fight. See? And I'm thinking, when you get knocked down, what was explained to me by this guy, which is, you get knocked down once, you get up and you get knocked down again, that like compounding effect, like 2 + 2 doesn't equal 4, like 2 + 2 straight away equals 8. And if you get knocked down again, 8 does not another 2, it's another 16 or whatever. Yeah. So that's why multiple knockdowns in fights, like in MMA, that's why the argument is safer, because someone gets knocked down, the other person jumps on them, and then the referee stops it. Whereas you get knocked down, you get up, you've got 8 seconds, you might make it through the round, and then it's bad. Like that blunt trauma to the head repeatedly over that, and you might recover. And there's all these exciting fights where people come back from knockdowns and stuff, and I've done it a few times, or
quite a few times. Been knocked down in the first round and got back and won and blah blah blah. All these things, but what the toll it's taking on your brain. And then for me, it was also the weight cutting because I wasn't doing the water loading stuff. No one taught me that or anything. So I was just doing Thai style, like training in a sweatsuit for a week and shit, just dehydrating for days, like fucking dreaming of puddles. Yeah, puddle time. Used to say my friend Abdul. I used to call it puddle time when you're running. When I was running in a sweatsuit in Thailand, I used to run past these dirty puddles on the street along the canal where we used to run. But when I was cutting weight, those puddles look appealing, man.
Oh, really?
They look appealing, yeah. You know what? If you ain't been thirsty like that, you can't even talk. Like, honestly though, I've got so much respect for fasting and dehydration. Like, if you go without water, like food is one thing, but if you go without water, you know why there's life on this planet. It's because of that liquid, man. And that's why Muslim and Ramadan, I think that's an amazing practice.
Yeah.
Health-wise, I'm not sure how healthy it is for you, but to go without water is a very special thing because we take it for granted, man.
Yeah, we do. Shit comes out of a tap. Do you know what I mean? It's mad. You got a good diet then, yeah, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I tried to, man. It took me about 2 years after I stopped fighting to get to a point where I was much more sustainable and like not going up and down like all in, all out, innit? Smashing loads of bad food and then going super healthy and smashing bad.
Yeah.
So now what I realized was all that weight cutting does a lot of damage to either your metabolism or your gut health, your gut biome, and it takes quite a long time to improve that, and that's why. If you go on these big cycles of binge eating and then cutting down for fights and these big weight cuts, that's why so many fighters get fat, I think, afterwards, because it damages their health. So even when you're eating nutritious food, you're not digesting it properly. And so yeah, it took me ages now, but now I'm at a good point, man, where I can like eat well. I like eating well anyway, so that helps. But I like eating well because I feel well. And then if I want to have pizza or whatever it is,
you just have it.
That's
Moderation.
how it should be, man. That's how it's got to be. That's a healthy relation. You do
but it took a lot of work to get there, to be honest, man. It took a lot of work. Same with training as well. It took a lot of work to get out of the habit of training twice a day and like not feeling guilty for not doing it and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, like athletes, being a professional athlete, I think, even though I was in a sport where like professional didn't really earn much money anyway, but being a professional athlete, I think is such an extreme and it's such a mindset that they need help transitioning afterwards, and if they don't put in the work transitioning afterwards, then because when I stopped fighting, I like looked at any other athlete quite suspicious, and I was like, what's wrong with you? Like, why are you pushing yourself to such an extreme? Because if we were calm, if we were actually like content and happy or like whatever, whereas actually everyone's a little bit broken. All these athletes that are striving to do something, like what are you striving for? Like recognition or wealth or success, or all of the striving for something comes from a lack of something or something that's wrong. Yeah. In my opinion now anyway. So I think like if you can go on these meditation retreats and understand that, then it stops you even wanting to do that. So like some people that keep coming out of retirement and things like that, it's like, well, maybe because they haven't actually understood why they were fighting in the first place. Or they know why they were fighting, but they haven't dealt with that reason.
Yeah, still looking for something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've sacrificed a lot in it to get where you learn a lot on the...
I think that's another thing that Instagram doesn't portray, innit, is how much people sacrifice.
Highlights, highlight reel, innit?
And even I'll be honest, like when I'm coaching at Bloodline, I know you guys from Bloodline, like I look at a lot of the Bloodline fighters, like my friends and stuff, but I look at them and compare themselves to what I was doing and to myself. You lot don't train that hard, man. To be honest.
I ain't been to one of your classes for a minute. Do you know what I mean? I was sat here, I was thinking.
I love you lot, man, but it's different. It's different in the sense that you strength train a lot, but there was a culture when I was training with KO where myself and Richmond and Abdul, like we were training, it was almost a competition of who could train the hardest. Yeah. Abdul used to do 4 sessions a day sometimes.
But do you think that's healthy though? That's a healthy.
No, it's not healthy, and it was too much cardio. So people from at that time weren't knocking people out because we weren't strength training enough. It was Bloodline and a lot more strength training going on, which is great. Yeah. But balances. But whatever type of training you do, if you're going to be a fighter, like either say I'm just fighting to get to this level and that's all I want to be. But if you're going to profess to be a fighter, which in my opinion, a fighter is someone that every time they get in the ring, they're getting to win, and you're not like, if you're a fighter, you're going to fight to the end, and you want to be the best you can be. If you want to say, I'm happy at C-class level, I'm happy at having one pro fight, then that's cool, that's calm. Well, you might as well just work hard to get there anyway.
Yeah.
So it's difficult, but yeah, there was a lot of sacrifices. Like, I didn't have a relationship for like most of 10 years of fighting, nothing that maintained anyway.
He was obsessed.
Yeah, it's obsession.
To be a master of your craft in any aspect, you know,
Yeah.
you've got to be obsessed. Well, you don't have to be obsessed, but most people are, aren't they? Just channel all your energy into that one thing.
It's boring as well, man. It's boring, like, because I used to like hate the routine of it.
Yeah.
Because it's so routine. If you ask me like, oh, where are you going to be in 4 weeks on a Tuesday? I could tell you straight away.
I'm doing
At 3:15, I could tell you straight away like where I was going to be. The routine was
Yeah.
there. So like there was no spontaneity. There was no like excitement in that sense. And then I remember like one of my friends, his cousin makes movies and goes around the world making these documentaries. And I think it was he was taking photos for it or something. And I remember saying to him, man, your job is so cool, man. You get to go to these cultures and around Bali, Indonesia, Africa, all these places, and you get to see so that's so deep. And he was like, nah, man. He's like, what you're doing is deep as well, which is training twice a day in a dingy gym in East London, like fucking mouldy, and still got the toenail infections, man. Can't get rid of it, like. But he's like, what you're doing is deep, and that like you're dedicating yourself to something, although it's not going around the world and flying around and seeing these different parts of this globe and stuff. You're dedicating yourself so fully, and you're delving so deep into that. Yeah. Could be your mind, whatever. That is also, it's kind of very similar. It's like, So I thought that was something.
Sorry, I was listening to one of your podcasts you did a few months back, and you touched on about the devaluation of like world titles in our scene or in our game. Now, there's so many world titles, and so many individuals are world champions.
Yeah.
Can you kind of give your thoughts on why there's so many world titles? Should there be so many world titles?
Well, it's a good question, but I think the problem is, it's not this answer, but I think because our sport is done by a lot of amateurs, so people do it, and then to sell tickets on small promotions, you put a title on the line, people will buy tickets. Like, oh, Nadine's fighting for a Southern Area title of the Chasm, whatever. She's going to get a lot more people coming to that. So on a basic level, there's all these small promotions that are putting on all these random titles, and no one's defending them. They mean nothing. But if you say to your friend, like, oh, I'm fighting for an area title, they go, oh, wow, come along. So that all happens. And then it's cheaper for, when the promotions get a bit bigger, it's cheaper for promoters to make their own governing body or make their own belt than it is to get it sanctioned by external ones. So there's a lack of money that. And then that's the main reason. And then also there's like the politics of the sport where people don't get on and they don't support each other, and it's a rival promotion. So there's Yokkao belts and then there's MTGP belts, and they don't do business together because they don't like each other or whatever. They undercut, or they try and sabotage each other. And there's one championship and there's UFC. Same at high levels. But a title, like as a fighter, I say that the titles are only worth the person you beat and when you beat them. There's no point beating SAENCHAI when he's 50-something years old. If you beat him in his prime, they respect you. Like, even if it wasn't for a title, then for me that meant more. So personally, my own proudest achievements are not really the belts. It's about in terms of like career-wise, like fighting career-wise, it's the people I beat and when I beat them. But yeah, I think there's like, for those reasons.
But does that devalue the sport?
It does devalue the sport. Yeah, it does, because like you say, oh, I'm a world champion in Thai boxing. They go, oh yeah, I know 5 other world champions in Thai boxing. Like, and there's all of that. So like, I don't like. That's why people say, oh, you kind of what it also does as a personal trainer, it sets you apart and give you a niche and make straight away this world title status. Makes this random client think you deserve the extra money that you want to charge them or whatever. So it's like a qualification because we don't have belts. So I don't consider myself a world champion Thai boxer. I consider myself got to a level where I was fighting some of the best people in the world, and I was fortunate enough to work very hard to fight up there. But like, I don't really care about the world title stuff. What I care about is I was fighting some of the best fighters at the time when they were still good. and that's enough for me. But for average Brer from average Kent Jim, whatever it is, he wants to have a little British, English, Southern area, whatever title, and he feels like a champion, he feels great, then that's something else. But it does devalue it, yeah.
So touching on that from like a respected gentleman as yourself, what do you think kickboxing or Muay Thai can bring it to the level of boxing, financially and awareness-wise?
Yeah, well, like just having less belts.
What is the belt to win?
There's not really. Like WBC is a good one because it is attached. It's riding on the tail feathers of WBC boxing.
Yeah.
But then I could see some friends in Australia. There's WBC local area titles and Queensland title. And this time, it's like just have like one belt for each division. For Thai boxing and kickboxing, or K1, and just have one belt, and then
there's a goal.
And then if you're the champion, then you're the best in the country, or whatever. Like.
And then do you think that will bring the UK together more? So the South versus North. Do you think that will bring us all together?
No, I don't
more?
think so. No, because to create that governing body who has the power to sanction these belts and say, oh, Nadine, you deserve that fight against Christian, like to say that you're worthy of that, or to get the rankings. There's so much like political say in that who does the rankings, who sanctions it, and then there's everyone who's already built up there. They've worked really hard for years, and they don't like each other because this reason, that reason. So who's going to bring it all together? Man like Kaz. But there's so much history in that's what struggle, and that's why because our sport is quite small at the moment, that stops it. And also same with Kaz earlier is that there's not too many business people in the sport, and because there isn't that much money, when they do start running promotions, they get probably, I don't know how, I'm not a promoter, so I can't say, but maybe they get a bit greedy and they charge more, and they're trying to make a living for themselves, and they see other promoters in other sports doing well. Why can't they do well? And then like every now and again there'll be a promotional company that'll come along and it'll have some wealthy investors, and they'll start off really good with a great vision, and then for some reason it'll break down because it's a long-term game, isn't it? When someone starts like having to remortgage their house to keep the show things going, it gets hard, isn't it? So it is difficult. Like MSA, Master Skins Academy, he had a promotional company. Like Glory was smashing it for ages, and then they lost a lot of high-profile things, and then they seem to be doing well again, and then like it comes and goes, like ebbs and flows. So I don't know the answer to like how that is, but I would happily fight for one title, and like then if I did win that one title, then I could say I was a world champion. But I won versions of this, so yeah.
So what's next for Greg? So some
Good
people know,
question.
where are you going? Like tell people about that.
Yeah. So I'm actually moving because I lived in London my whole life, and apart from going to Thailand for 7 months. So my partner, Alana, she's been a big influence on me in that I met her like a year before I stopped fighting. And then she really helped me while I was fighting then, and then also transition out of it. And like she's been very encouraging me on things like helping me be nicer to myself and love myself a lot more. So she like it's a common thing that men often have women help them to care for themselves. Yeah, it's a shame, but it's a repeating cycle, isn't it? So she really helped me massively in so many ways. But she grew up in California and has wanted to go back for a while. And like we've been together about 5 years, 4.5, coming up to 5. So I didn't want to end the relationship, and then I want to try life elsewhere as well because it's a big world, isn't it? Just living in the sun. So yeah, so I'm trying to move to California to LA with her at the moment, but I'm going through visa stuff at the moment. Yeah. Nice. So that'd be big. Yeah.
Running them beaches. So what's your plans there? You're going to be working in a gym out there?
Yeah, I'll be working in a gym. As part of my visa, I'm only allowed. I'm going under a talent visa, which means I need to prove to the US immigration that I am worthy coming into the country because I will bring something to that country. Yeah. And luckily, I've done some stuff since and they view you separately as a fighter and a coach as well. So I'm not getting any credentials as a fighter now. It's just what I've done as a coach. So all the stuff I've done and the articles I've written or been written. So all of that stuff kind of has added up to tick me over the line. So I'm going over there for that. as a martial arts coach, and that I'm quite restricted with that. So I might try and find some ways to build something else that I can operate out of the gym I'm at. Maybe start it with the owner there, and get some maybe some community projects, maybe some corporate workshops out there as well. With my company here as well, we can combine maybe some other stuff. But yeah, it's just about learning and growing, isn't it? I've just been in such a niche thing for 10 years. Not niche thing, but like niche mindset, where that was the one thing where it's a big world. Like, wanted to start a podcast a while ago, but I never got my act together. And then man like Kaz coming in here just tearing it
Now
up,
you've
man,
been on
professional.
several.
Been on several, been on several. But learning about business has been something interesting as well, and about sales. I never knew nothing about either because of Bill kept me in the dark. But what I realised, and also about money, trying to learn about money as well, because as much as you'd be like, I just want to be a good person, it's great, but if you don't have your finances in order, you can be a good person and you can't help anyone. So you've got to help yourself. So learn about that, try and apply that out there, and we'll see. But yeah, trying to maintain that same mindset I had when you first went to the gym, which is that growth mindset, and trying to be like Tim Campbell one day. When I grow up one day.
We all do.
Yeah, we all do, right? Superman,
Yeah, nice to think you got to where you think where you set out to get to.
When you first started.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Actually, interesting enough, like Vinny Shoreman, who's a NLP, he came to the gym and gave a seminar once, and then one of the things he said was that he just introduced a lot of basic concepts into a sport where that very, very effective when they applied into a sport where no one else was doing it. So things like goal setting. So you should write down your goal as clear as you can, describe it in as much detail, which I did, and then I achieved that. Which was like winning world titles against current good fighters, fighting former champions and world champions, making myself and my family proud, maintaining my friendships and good friends and keeping them close. So I did all of that. And I was like, wow, bang. Sick. So stopped at 25 when I feel all right. A bit slow sometimes. Forget my words and that sometimes.
We're all there, innit?
Getting paranoid about that stuff. But yeah.
Do you think more needs to be done here in the UK about having medicals and things like that? Because that helps you. That helps save your life.
Yeah, it did. Well,
what do you think? What would have been the repercussions if you went into that fight and you didn't have that medical? What would have happened? What would have?
To be honest, I probably had that brain injury before the SAENCHAI fight, so I could have gone and fought SAENCHAI, and he could have done one of his fancy knockout things, or who knows what happened. I think I would have won, but anyway.
Of course you would have.
Who knows? But anyway, there more needs to be done on a grassroots level, in the sense that when you're cornering someone at whatever level, interclub or whatever, if they're being knocked down, you should know what that means and what's going on with the brain. And if they're being knocked down in a row, and even in the gym, if there's hard sparring going on, you shouldn't be having hard sparring sessions day after day after day. So there needs to be more awareness about our brains and the concussion and stuff in the sport. And that comes from, I think, you need to become accredited football coach, the same way you need to become an accredited not tablets, but cornerman. You should need a cornerman's license. So you know what the signs are when someone's concussed, and blah, blah, you know how to treat them or how much time they should have. There's not enough protocols in that, so we do need that, I think. Because what I worry about, because luckily enough I was fighting at a good level where I had MRI scans, what about all the guys that are just average and getting whacked out and banged out on a regular basis? Them poor guys probably ain't going to remember their kids when they're older, or their grandkids, or I don't know, man. All kinds of, what happens with American footballers, isn't it? So, them average level guys or people taking licks on a regular basis, it's not good for them.
So I guess it's a combination of the promotions. They need to have good, stringent, medicals in place.
Yeah, but
and also the coaches and the cornermen.
When I fought in America and I got my medicals, I had to pay for it myself anyway.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, $800 or whatever for all of them. It was very it was a lot. It was a lot though. It was all of them: bloods, EKG, MRI, doctor's physical, eye test, all of this stuff that I never really had before. And I think if you have health insurance there, it's covered. But the promotional companies here, they don't have enough money to pay for it for fighters. Fighters aren't earning enough money to really happily do it. Whereas in France and I think in other countries, they have better systems. I think in Poland, they have better amateur systems where you have a once a year medical at least. So yeah, there should be something, but there's nothing. Like some of the pre-fight medicals I've done have been a joke. Like follow the finger, squeeze your fist, jump on one leg. You're like, what is this? What?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that's not gonna help anyone much.
No.
There's some fights I never had a medical. Just went in there.
And
Yeah.
the heavyweight's different game, a whole different ball game.
No medical, just go in there.
Mad.
Yeah.
And then you got to sign away your life as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
If the ring collapses because it's poorly built, it's not their fault. If yeah.
So people are looking for Greg. You're leaving the country, but where can they find you? What are your socials?
You can find me on Instagram. I don't even post.
You haven't been doing though.
You've been doing all right.
I did a bit.
And
I did a
I've seen
bit.
that story thing that you did.
Did a story. I did a week.
Yeah.
I did it a week intensive.
It's good, you know.
Yeah.
You're quite descriptive of what you post, innit?
Thanks. Yeah, I don't know, man. Instagram, I still have a very troubled relationship with that. And that it's just, I don't know. It is a business tool, and I should see it that way. And it is a form of business. So, not hopefully, when I get to America and I'm trying to build up my business, I probably will use that because it's a free form of thing.
Yeah.
But I don't like it, man. I don't like it.
Do you think that some people will say in like the fight scene, if you've got more followers, you can, get headline shows?
Yeah, people ask now. I think on a lot of promotions they ask for your social media handles, and that makes a difference. And like, if you're a promoter and you're gonna bring on a fighter who sells this many tickets versus a fighter who doesn't sell that many tickets, you're gonna pick the guy who sells more tickets. So pure fighting in the sense of like that's all you want to do. You don't give a crap about anything else unless you've got someone else doing it. It's going to become harder to do. So that's why I might just disappear off to Thailand. And the question I've been wondering about lately, is like, if there was no fanfare around fighting, there was no social media, no crowds, or nothing, would people fight? Would you fight if there was no one? And if you didn't even, and if you weren't allowed to tell anyone, would you fight for yourself?
What do you think is a spectator sport? Well, it is a spectator sport, I guess.
Yeah,
Anyway.
but if there was no crowd, nothing.
I personally think I would, because I know what it's done for me.
Yeah, for sure.
But I probably wouldn't give as much to it. But that is a good question.
Good question,
Yeah. Would you?
Did you say?
Not anymore, but I'm not fighting anymore. Yeah. Would I? Would it have
I
fulfilled
think
me
you kind
the
of
same
did,
way?
really, for you. Because there wasn't this whole fanfare around it when you first started.
Yeah, but like in the gym, people used to make a fuss, and like you used to feel like you're somebody, you're achieving something. So there was a part of that, but I just think now it's getting worse because lower level fighters are going on like they're high level fighters. Like everyone's got the t-shirt made up and the whole fucking thing when they've had free interclubs and shit. You're like, then they're gonna make it to the top. And people's self-belief because of Conor McGregor and law of attraction, all of this stuff. Like, humble the fuck down, man. Martial arts is not about that. Incredible self. You can have that incredible self-belief, but you can maintain that inside, innit? Why do you need to like fucking tell everybody? But I don't sell tickets, innit? Kaz sells tickets. Smash a man, crown off his thing, water bottle in the face.
Big man things.
Yeah. But it works, innit? Like, it works. So people have done that and they make that massive, and you'll become characters. Like, UFC's done a great job of creating characters.
Yeah.
And one championship are trying to rival that and bring it back to what it should be, which is bring martial arts back to the East, where they originate from, and the original things. I read an article about, maybe I've got it wrong, but that's what I understand they're trying to do. They promote good role models in society, like parents, like honourable people who. But it makes boring press conferences because no one's doing no Conor McGregor like cracking mad joints.
It is. It's fucking theatre, isn't it? It's like.
But I personally, what you just touched on there in terms of building characters, I personally think that's what's kind of lacking with the UK kickboxing and Muay Thai scene. There's not enough characters, and I think it's a spectator sport, and I'm sure if
I disagree. No, straight away I disagree.
I'm sure if there was, let's say for example, a bigger purse in when you was competing, if say for example, you can earn 500,000 or $1 million in a fight, it could have pushed you on a bit more, or you could have maybe prolonged your career a bit more in regards to getting the right treatment or the right nutrition, etc., etc. So I personally kind of believe having a sport that encourages building characters in terms of being honest to yourself, who you are. If for Conor McGregor is who you are, then be that. If it's not, then it's questionable.
I think it's a double-edged sword. I think actually our sport has some incredible characters. We just, like in America, for example, they don't have as many fighters as us, but they've got so much more media coverage. Everyone knows about Kevin Ross when he's an awesome guy and things like that, but he just have a lot of coverage. Whereas here, we've got mad characters. We've got like these northern guys. They live different, man. We've got the southern dudes. We've got like loads of characters. We've got French fighters. Like there's so many characters within our sport, and even within our country. But we just don't have the media coverage. And then the other thing is that I think is like, would I have done the sport if there was all that money in it from day one? Because money attracts a different person. You know, you're playing football. All them parents are pushing their kids to become footballers because of the money. If people were doing that for Thai boxing, which is kind of happening, I see some of the pushy parents in the gym. You're like, what are you pushing these kids for? Like, is it for the martial arts ethics and stuff? So it's a double-edged. I think also the trouble is discipline. Like for me, martial arts, Thai boxing, discipline, respect, humility. Would that can they exist with money? Because selling tickets, pay-per-views.
But then my question is, why would you put yourself in such a risk in a sport that can physically damage you mentally, emotionally, etc., without any kind of reward at the end of it?
Yeah, well,
but the reward doesn't have to be financial, though, or does it?
True, but if you're putting yourself in that much danger,
yeah, but listen, like you put yourself in that much danger. It is a lot of danger, yeah. But then there's people that spend every night in the pub, like. They can't see the danger that they're putting themselves under, but their liver is getting smashed. Their thing there. There's people that are working double night shifts that's not sleeping to stand and provide for their family, who are probably putting themselves at incredible risk of developing cancer or some other thing. So the day-to-day basis of like risks and like things like that, and people aren't aware of it so much, man. So when it comes down to fighting, there is a risk of it, but at the same time, it does leave you with nothing, but at the same time, it can leave you with for me, I've got a career now, met my partner, met some of my best friends, met some role models, met some inspiration. It's given me my mindset, it's given me my outlook, had a little bit of brain damage, broke my nose a little bit, but not too bad.
Savage.
If you had let's say if you had $1 million in your account, would you say, would that be an ice in the cake in your career? On your career?
Would $1 million, obviously in the $1 million in the account, like, yeah, I'd be in a much better situation in society's eyes. But would I still be the same person? Would I still be have the same friends? Would I things like that? Like, it's difficult. I think that's too difficult to answer. Yeah, I would probably have my own flat or house, or probably flat. I'll probably have my own flat and get that sorted, and I'll be able to like not work as hard and probably not be so tired and stuff. But would it put the icing on the cake? For me, man, I'm happy with what I've done. I set out my goals. Money wasn't one of them, so maybe I shouldn't complain about. I'm not really complaining, but maybe I shouldn't be bitter about not earning money because that wasn't one of my goals.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Cool. So to lighten things up a bit, we've had a little game.
Okay.
We've organised a little game. So you're going to America, California, LA. So we've got some words, some American words, and you, just to help you along the way, you need to give me what they mean in English. Well, London slang.
Okay.
All right, so June gloom.
June gloom.
Yeah, so I was like, you say it in the American accent.
No, brah. Today's not good for certain. There's too much June gloom. June gloom?
Yeah, it's the real thing. Google.
Too much June gloom. Can't go surfing today, bro. Too much June gloom.
And I've got to give the London slang for that.
Yeah, or what it means in
English.
English.
The UK meaning.
Oh,
the UK meaning.
Right, yeah. It's just, it's not very nice outside.
Gloomy beach day.
Yeah, grey, gloomy beach day.
Okay.
So if when you're in,
June gloom.
yeah,
Okay.
so when you're running along the beach and you know.
You know when I go there, I'm going more London than now. I'm going more London than now. Yeah, I'm going to try and
do the anomaly, bro.
All right, but you need to know what they're saying.
I know what they're saying. I'll just give them the London back, innit?
All right, this is an easy one. Heavy. Well, man, I'm sorry, that's heavy.
Was that deep?
Yeah,
Deep.
basically.
Oh,
so if
deep.
they say that.
It's heavy. Okay.
This has no context.
Yeah. The next one, Yadameen.
I can't give you in context. I don't know.
Yeah. Yadameen. Apparently that's what they say.
Yeah,
about it.
I can.
Yeah, Yadameen.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
One.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's when they say that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, don't think I'll use that.
Nah, dank.
Dank.
Yeah.
Nasty. That's nasty.
No.
Was it good?
Yeah.
That was good. Oh, that's dank.
Yeah. Dude, that's dank.
Oh, okay.
So it means something
Dank, bro.
that's
sick.
cool. Really cool. All right.
Butter. Don't get all butter about it.
Butter.
Don't get butter.
Butter, sorry.
Butter.
Right,
Butter.
Butter.
Yeah.
Butter.
Butter.
That's his accent. Don't
get
get all
butter.
butthurt about it.
Okay. Don't get all butter about it. I don't know. Don't get hurt feelings. Don't catch feelings.
Yeah, so
Butter.
don't get upset without justification.
Oh,
So if
okay.
you're ever there and they say, oh, dude, don't get butthurt
Oh,
about it.
okay. Yeah.
Basically. So that means
Alright.
we're helping you out here, aren't we?
I'm learning.
Ready, you know what I mean?
Gnarly.
Oh,
That's
great,
so gnarly.
Yeah, that's the surfing one, isn't it? Gnarly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's it mean?
It's like that's sick. That's rad, man.
Yeah.
All that
Yeah, it's
stuff.
bad.
Yeah.
So you'll be alright.
I'm not
Practice
use
these
any of
words.
those. Nah,
I think it's sweet, lads. You got it.
If you don't
Yeah,
really
you gotta
need.
keep listening to like a lot of like British grime just to keep up with what's going on. My brother's a school teacher, so he gets the first stuff, innit? The
Okay.
students comes in, they try it all out, and then I just gotta keep getting the lingo. Otherwise, I come back here, won't be able to understand you lot anymore.
Yeah. Are you gonna come back frequently or?
Yeah, depending on how the business that I started here, the corporate one, I might come back for some corporate workshops for those.
Yeah.
And then obviously my family's here and stuff, so
Yeah.
my friends and that. Hopefully not too not too regular though, because it's
You
a
need to
long way,
settle.
innit?
Yeah, it's a long way.
Setting
Bad
up
for the
plan.
country, for the planet. I mean, so
Yeah.
bad for the planet and blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah.
Cool. Well,
do
thanks,
so.
Greg.
Yeah, thank you.
That
Thanks
was
very
very
much.
insightful, bro. Really
You're
nice.
welcome,
talking
Really
to you,
appreciate
nice.
it. You didn't say where people can find you. Your
At,
Instagram, Facebook,
Greg-
website.
Yeah, Instagram at Greg_Wootton. Thank
That's
you.
really good.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Cool. Wicked.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.